Hi everybody, it's Stacy, personally speaking, still in Japan, but I'm on the last leg. This video is specifically being done to help everyone, especially Jamaicans or those who are not familiar with having to file taxes in a foreign country. This video is for you. So let's talk about tax here in Japan. And I pray that God will help us all to understand a little better at the end of this video. Now, this video is going to be me just talking, trying to provide as much information as I possibly can based on my experience, my understanding, and the documents that I've been reading. It's going to be a little bit much, so try and take it in bite-sized pieces. It can also be very simple for you after watching this if you've already done the process before. In any event, let me start with the first question that I've written down. What is tax? I think everybody knows about tax. It's something that governments impose on everyone all over the world. Okay, so we're familiar with what tax is, but we're talking about tax in Japan. Now, here in Japan, there are different categories of taxes or taxation, and I'm sure it's all over the world, but I'm not talking about the world. The point of this is to get to the tax return, okay? But before we get there, we want to understand some things, okay? So here in Japan, there are different tax rates based on your income. Now, if you came to Japan to teach English like me, as an ALT or even with JET, most of us fall into the 5% category. Right? The 5% category, that's pretty much the lowest bracket of taxes that you can pay. Some people move on and are teaching at the university level and are earning like a lot more, which will land them in the 10% bracket. So the 5% bracket is for those earning salary. This is the salary, okay, after the deductions. Right? Those who are earning 1,000 yen to 1.94 million yen for the year. Okay, this would be your net earnings that it's referring to. This is my understanding. Those who would fall in the 10% bracket are those with a net income of 1.95 million to 3.299 million. Okay, that's a 10% bracket. Then there's a 20% bracket for those earning 3.3 million to 6.949 million yen. And I'm talking about yen, and I will be talking only in yen because this is about Japan, right? They actually have 7 levels from 5% taxation to 45%. We don't need to care too much about those extreme ends. All right. So we understand that we're here, we're paying taxes. So why then do we always seem to get so flustered when this time of the year, which is February 16th or sometimes 15th to March 16th here in Japan, this is when we have to do our tax returns, our filing. Okay, now each company that we work for, usually if it's a registered company, legitimate business, they withdraw monthly 5% or 10% from our salaries or from our income, right? Now, these companies, they are also responsible for, of course, handing this over to the government, okay? So they're doing it on our behalf. And I will talk a little bit about working as a freelancer, okay? There's a lot of information. I'm trying to keep it focused so I don't lose my train of thought and I don't get you confused. So companies at the end of the year will provide us with what is called a Genzen Choshu Hyo. Okay, now that's a document. That's a document that basically is a withholding statement. It shows you how much taxes has been withheld from your salary for a particular year being from January to December, right? Now your company will provide this withholding slip at the end of the year. Now, since I have been working freelance and I have one main company and 2 and sometimes 3 other companies who do not act as my main employers, I recently found that one of my companies did not give me a Genzen Choshu Hyo or a withholding slip, tax withholding slip. What they gave me was a salary payment slip or a Shiharaicho So. Shiharaicho So. Okay, and I'm going to be saying the Japanese name and the English name so you become more familiar with it. If there is any time later on in this year, maybe I'll try to do over this video and do some editing, but this video, I don't have the time for editing. So the withholding slip, which almost everybody gets, who usually just has one employer, is called the Genzen Choshu Hyo. The salary payment slip, which is provided by a company that is charging like 10%. Well, that's my experience. This company was charging 10% tax, was taking 10% tax from my salary. And so what they provided me with was a Shiharai Choso, right? So because I do not fall into that 10% bracket, I would definitely have to do the tax filing at the tax adjustment at the end of the year. All right, this is not going as smoothly as I wanted to at all. So working freelance has done this. It has taught me a lot, but it also meant a lot more information. All right, so everybody needs to complete this form, right? This form, your company usually sends out this form probably in October and tell you that you need to send it back to them by November, right? This is the Nenmatsu Zeikin, or end of year tax adjustment form, right? Now this form, right, I have copies of all of these things, but I'm just not going to be dealing with any documents, showing any documents now. The end of year tax adjustment form, or Nenmatsu Zeikin form, would normally have your company's name and you put your name and your address, pretty much. Now on this form, if you have dependents meaning your children, your husband, family members who you are sending money home to, you would normally add their names to this form, and your company will ask you to provide evidence of the remittances you have been making to your dependents, whether they're in Japan or in Jamaica or your home country. Normally, I have to provide birth certificates with Japanese translation because I don't normally translate everything and I do it myself. And I have to provide them with copies of the remittance receipts. Also, at this point, your company is going to ask you to provide any kind of statement or evidence that you have been paying into the social insurance system, whether that is the pension statement or the health insurance statement, right? It doesn't have to be the actual payment slip. So like you normally get some documents to show what you're supposed to pay. Your company will accept that as evidence of you being a part of that social program. Keep all of these things in mind, okay? So when all of that is done, your company will actually do their own end of year adjustment. If you have one company, they will do it and it will be reflected in your final salary. You'll either see a negative or a positive, okay? Negative means that they have to give you back some money. Positive means that you owe the government taxes based on all your earnings by the end of the year. Now, that's if you have one company, right? If you have more than one company, then it necessitates that you go to the tax office yourself. Even if you have one company, but you have dependents that you are sending money to, if you want to get some adjustments, you have to go to the tax office. Okay. So, as I mentioned, why do we have to do it? If you're a part-time employee with multiple employers like myself, or freelancing, or if you're otherwise self-employed, or if you have dependents, you need to go to the tax office to do an adjustment, especially if you want to get back some money. Now, mind you, you don't have to, but then you won't get back any money, yeah? All right. What do you need to take with you to the tax office? You need your pension statements, pension or nenkin, in Japanese, nenkin statements. You need your national health insurance statements, or Kakuteishinkoku hoken, right? Hoken statements, you need that. You need birth certificates to prove your family relations, okay? You need to prove family relations, so your birth certificate, your parents' birth certificate, your siblings' birth certificate. I'm not touching anything about cousins. You'd have to show that if you are sending money to cousins, you'd have to show that somehow, right? Your remittance receipts. Recently, about 2 years ago, the government of Japan has adjusted the deductible for remittances. You must be sending 380,000 yen or more for it to be added as a deductible for your tax adjustments, right? I'm not getting into too much details. Just know that them increase it exponentially. So if you only normally send them $100,000 for the year, that now gonna cut it. Okay, and of course you need your bank book for the refund that you are hoping to get. All right, so I hope this was helpful. All right, so imagine you are told that you need to go to the tax office. Step 1, get all your documents together. Get them together first, okay? Everything, get them together. Gensen Choshu Hyo. Make sure you've gotten that from all the companies that you work for or with. I took 3 Gensen Choshu Hyos with me and a Shiharai Choso from the one company that was taking 10% tax, right? So get those salary payment slips or tax withholding slips, right? Your family's birth certificates. Try to put some Japanese on it, right? I did it very simply, but that's my situation. Some others have had experiences where they have requested that they get the whole birth certificate translated. I just did it myself and just highlighted where mother, father, brother was on the thing, right? So tax statements, birth certificates, social insurance statements, pension or health insurance that you are paying, right? And especially us as ALTs or freelancers or whatever, we are usually paying these by ourselves, unless you're a direct hire or something like that. Okay. What else? You need the remittance receipts. They need to see the remittance receipts, and of course it should be valued at 380,000 yen or more. You need your bank book, okay, to be able to add your banking details so you can get back any refund. Now, I went last week, about Thursday, to my tax office. So you might live in a particular city or ward, but your tax office that's responsible for your area might be in a different location. So please find out where your tax office is, where you should go, right? Also, before you go there, find out from your ward office or go online and find out if you need to make an appointment. I made the mistake of going there on the first day, February 16th. I had no appointment and no knowledge that I needed an appointment. So I went there and I had to go back later that afternoon. Okay? You don't want that. Fortunately, working freelance has allowed me that flexibility where I had the time to go back. Okay? Try to bring all your documents. Don't leave anything because the process can be lengthy. Okay, they move quickly, but the process itself. So, and then I ended up filing 2 years because last year I didn't go. So it took me about 2 hours in total from I got there, did a little bit of waiting because there were a lot of people, and until I left. I was assisted by someone because they have everything being done on computers. So when you go there, this is in Nagoya City, my area. I don't know about your area, but when I went there, they had computer stations set up everywhere, and they just brought persons to the different computer stations, left them there to input the information. I can't read Japanese, and so I got assisted in that way, and the information was inputted for me. Now, they have been trying to push e-filing. Now, if you have signed up for the My Number, then you should be able to do your e-filing online. Personally, I tried it once a long time ago with the assistance of a Japanese person who found it very difficult herself, and I decided it's better for me to go in person. Because after you complete the form, you still have to drop off the form or bring it in somewhere, okay? It's a really long video, sorry about that. There is just so much to talk about, but if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments so everybody can benefit. Please don't email me this time around, not for this. Drop them in the comments so everybody can benefit from your question, so I can respond and everybody will be able to see it. Thanks for watching. I'm sure I've left off a lot of things. If I do have time, I will try to do another video more detailed with the documents, pictures of the documents. Maybe I can show, maybe I can do it in different parts. I'm not sure, but I just hope that this helps you to make your journey to the tax office a little bit easier, and you don't have to worry about it. But it can be a little, you know, intimidating just because of the language barrier mostly, I think. But yeah, just have all your documents together and know that you can file for up to 5 years. So 5 years in the back, but trust me, just try to do your filing every year so you don't have to deal with that. Yeah. And all the best, you know, God be with you as you make this journey into tax season. Tax here in Japan can be very daunting, even for Japanese people. But thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for listening. And if you found it helpful, why don't you consider sharing it with somebody else who might just need it? All right. God bless you.